What's good, G Life? This right here is beautiful Killicali, California. You already know California is home to its beautiful weather, sandy beaches, and the Hollywood nightlife. It is also gangbanging capital, home of hundreds and thousands of documented gang members and gangs, spread out through all of California from northern all the way to the southern portion, from black, Cribs, Bloods, northerners, southerners, Asians, whites, and everybody in between, bro. It definitely cracks in Killicali, right? And this right here is the city of Cudahy. Now, where is the city of Cudahy located? It is located in the south side portion of Los Angeles, or geographically as is known as the Southeast, but technically the Southeast is more of Norwalk and, La Mirada and places like that, right? This is, at least in the street world, considered the south side of Los Angeles, right? With its cities like Maywood, Bell, uh, Huntington Park, Bell Gardens, Linwood, Compton, areas like that, right? So it's located around those areas, right? South Central Compton, Maywood, all that, right? It is a very small city, you know. These cities are around this area roughly tend to be, very small, like you have Maywood and Bell and, Cudahy, obviously, are not as big as like other areas, right? But don't get it twisted. These areas crack and get hectic, right? And still have several neighborhoods located in them, even though the area is not big in itself. And that's what we shall be covering. So, with no further ado, let's get into it. You already know. I hold it down for the hood and the G life. Straight out the gutter where the vatos know for walk by. You see the vitals on the wall, you see them gang signs. Shit's no joke in the streets, you better act right. I hold it down for the hood and the G life. Straight out the gutter where the vatos know for walk bys. You see the vital on the wall, you see them gang signs. Shit's no joke in the streets, you better act right. Now we shall be starting off with the oldest barrio within this region, right? This is the first neighborhood, even though at the time you did have smaller clicas that were around, right? They weren't established barrios like this one was, right? So this is the first neighborhood that was, out of this place, right? Which is the Vario Southside 18th Street, to nobody's surprise, right? Obviously, the south side of 18th Street, its branch has, spread out through, different locations, right? They had homies that were from the west side that landed on this area, and then from there, started and, created the south side portion of this barrio, right? The south side portion having its own individual clicas, right? Like the tiny Diablos, tiny criminals, the K-Dubs, the midget locos, tiny locos, and, clicas like that, right? That spread out, through Maywood, Bell Gardens, Bell, and areas like that. But this is when they landed in the south side portion of Los Angeles. This is where they landed in the city of Cudahy, right? This is where they originated from, roughly around the 70s, right? But obviously, the barrio in itself is a lot older, right, from its original birthplace in the west, because 18th Street has several different branches of its neighborhood that's located in different sides, and they break their barrio down by adding individual sides. You have the west sides, which are the originals out of the MacArthur Park area. You have the east sides, which is located in El Serrano. You have the north side, which is located in my area, right, the 818, the North Hollywood area. Then you have the south central portion that's located obviously in South Central. And then you have these ones that are located in the south side, from everything that's considered the south side. Like I said, Linwood, Bell Gardens, and etc. Right? And they are large, right? This branch of theirs is large too, a few hundred members to them. And obviously as a whole, they're a lot, obviously it's the biggest Hispanic neighborhood, right? And this barrio, like I said, has been here in the city of Cudahy since the 70s. But like I said, they weren't originally obviously from here. And their territory is everything that's from what the Wilcox and Santa Ana, obviously the heart of their hood, their main domain, and where the Cudahy Park is at. That's the heart of their hood, right? But everything in their hood is what's Elizabeth, Elizabeth, their territory heads out all the way to Atlantic Avenue. From Atlantic Avenue, their territory heads out all the way to Cecilia. From Cecilia, their territory still heads out all the way to where the riverbed's at and back around. Like I said, everything in the middle is considered their barrio. And like I said, they do have other branches located in the surrounding areas and homies that live in the surrounding areas. So as a whole, they're spread out, to more. But this is their main domain, their dojo. This is where it goes down, right? Obviously, Wilcox and Santa Ana is the heart of their hood, their main domain, the Cudahy Park, and a little bar that's known as I forget what the name of the bar is. It's across from the TNA restaurant, right? Tacos right there. But yes, that is, what's considered their barrio, right? This is the branch portion which the rapper Enemies, this is the barrio in which he's from. He's a Chicano rapper, has good music. I recommend it, go peep it out, right? And this is the branch in which the other rapper, Rec, was from, right? The one that was a part of the Wicked Minds. If anybody remembers the Wicked Minds, Chino Grande, Cuete Yesca, and Baby Wicked, and all of them, right? Is the portion where he was from, right? And like I said, they were the original neighborhood out of, the Cudahy area, right? This is their stomping grounds, and where they still continue to hold it down and hold a presence. Now, another barrio that you have within the city of Cudahy, this one being a little bit more recognized simply on the fact of the name, is actually the name of the city, right? Which is the Barrio C13 or CDY, which translates to Vario Cudahy 13. Now, Cudahy is, even though it's the name of the city, right, is not the original neighborhood, like I said, that belongs to the 18th Streeters, right? And this neighborhood was actually a combination of different barrios coming together, different clicas, coming together to form the Cudahy neighborhood, right? Which was the Clara Street neighborhood and the Little Mob neighborhood. They together combined to form the, Cudahy 13, right? Because obviously these clicas were going at it with the 18th Streeters, 18th Street being a more larger, older neighborhood. They decided to join forces to create the Barrio Cudahy, 13. Not to be confused with the Cudahy Stoners, which was a group of individuals, but that didn't last, right? It kind of is like that, was it the Top Dollar Locals neighborhood, which was just another clica, right? It wasn't a barrio, right? And they ended up becoming, people from 18, right? So it's not to be confused with like the Cudahy Stoners, right? So they joined together to form the Cudahy 13 Barrio, right? And this barrio is a few hundred members to them. They established themselves, roughly around the 70s, later 70s, early 80s, when this neighborhood establishes itself. Like I said, a few hundred members to them. And you can find them spread out through all of the city of Cudahy, you know what I mean? Because like I said, they were different cliques, so they had members, spread out in different locations, right? So you could find them spread out throughout the whole entire, on both sides of Atlantic, right? Atlantic is what separates the both sides, right? So you can find them on both sides of Atlantic, right? But the main domain of their hood, their dojo, is throughout Clara Street, right? Throughout all those apartments that you can find on Clara Street and what's Lugo Park, right? The Tulama, that's the reason for the name of the clique, because they used to hang around in that playground in that park, right? That's the reason for the Tulama name of their clica and the Clara Street locals, right? Being clicas from their barrio, right? The two recognizable cliques from the Cudahy neighborhood, right? That's how they broke it up into, groups. And like I said, these individuals are with the business. They do their thing. You know what I mean? These guys ain't no suckers. I know a few individuals from this neighborhood as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, they do their thing right there. You know what I mean? Feuding with the surrounding barrios. Obviously, them and the Cudahy 18th Street branch. Obviously, our worst enemies. Their rivals. And like I said, they have to share. Within the city, because the city's not even that large. So definitely gets chaotic. But that's what's up with the Cudahy 13 barrio right there. Now, another barrio that you have right here in the city of Cudahy, right, that's been roughly around since the 80s as well. This barrio in itself was more smaller than the Cudahy 13 and the 18th Street, barrios, right? They weren't as large as them, but nonetheless held it down, you know what I mean? They had real writers that were doing real things, and which is the barrio, LST or LOST, Lost or LST, either one's appropriate, right? Which is the barrio Live Oak Street. Yes, a real barrio, and not to be confused with the Live Oak Sureños from upstate, the upstate Sureños, right, that are located in Live Oak, or the Live Oak Norteños. It has no connections to none of those barrios. You know what I mean? This one is located here in Southern California, in the city of Cudahy, on Live Oak Street, right? Because that's where they're located at, and their territory was stretched out throughout Live Oak Street. Um, Everything that's Live Oak, passing Wilcox, heading all the way towards the riverbed, the dead end, right? The dead end is, their playground, right? That's where they, hanged out, did their thing. But you can find them spread out through all those apartment complexes throughout Live Oak, right? But the dead end was their domain, their dojo. These individuals, at least from what I was told, they roughly were around, 80 to something members, right? So they did have heads to them, right? And were doing real things, right? That this was their birthplace and what they represented. Cudahy, Live Oak Street, right? They had no connection to the Cudahy neighborhood or the 18th Streeters or nothing like that, right? They did have a good relationship with the Florence Barrio, Florencia, right? Becoming a clique off Florence, but it is to like the Bear Street, that I had explained in that video, right? How it's the Florence Bear Street, but it still represents itself as a barrio, right? Same right here with Live Oak Street. Don't get it twisted. These individuals were handling business, kicking up dust, and doing their thing, feuding with the barrios, within the city, right? But like I said, they had real individuals that were doing real things and continue to represent theirs and putting theirs on the map for the barrio Live Oak Street. Now, another barrio that you have right here in the city of Cudahy, but this one being a little bit different because, well, for numerous reasons. One, because this is not their original birthplace, so this is not... they weren't brought up here in the city of Cudahy, but relocated, a branch of their clica over here to the city of Cudahy. And they used to be a tagging crew, right? Which is the Vario DIA. DIA was a tagging crew that became tag bangers that became, gangbangers. Right, and this crew was an old, large crew as it is, right? They are located on 3rd and Union in the west side of Los Angeles, right? But had members that had moved over here to the south side portion of, LA. That's why you see it written as West Side DIA or South Side DIA, right? West Side is obviously being from the original birthplace, and then the South Side being portion that's located here in the city of Cudahy and the surrounding areas, right? Is where they have their South Side branch of their barrio, right? And their barrio is everything that's located around the Elizabeth School. For those who are familiar, it's located on Elizabeth Street, the little park that's right there, and, throughout the back streets of the schools and all that is where you could find their stomping grounds, right, where they handle business. And obviously, they're not as large as, the other barrios on the fact that they were a tagging crew and they haven't been around that long and this is not their birthplace. So at least from what I was told, they're roughly only like about 10 or 12 members, on the south side portion of their branch, right? But as a whole, they're up to like 80, 70 to 80 members is what I was told, right? Located in not just West LA and here, but Orange County and different locations that they have members, right? So as a whole, it's a lot more larger, and the locations are not even that far from each other. So as a whole, it's a lot more larger, right? And it stands for, before it used to stand for Down in Action, Deadly, Insane Assassins, but now it stands for Diablos, right? So the west side portion is known as the West Side Diablos. These are these are known as the Southside Diablos, not to be confused with 18th Street and the Tiny Diablos clique. This is completely different, right? So this is Southside Diablos is what the DIA now stands for, right? And like I said, they used to be, taggers that became tag bangers, but they have cliques now to their barrios and stuff like that, right? And like I said, they had been around as a crew. They had been around since the later 80s. So this was a crew that already had years to it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's what's up with the DIAs right there and theirs. And of course, I can't forget about my cuñado's neighborhood. Shout out to my cuñado, Bones. Is the barrio Walnut Street, WST. Walnut Street is a barrio that's located here in Cudahy, right? Now they're located in the south side portion of Los Angeles. You can find them spread out in different areas, Maywood, Bell Gardens, Southgate, Cudahy. They have members, spread out throughout, the locations, right? But originally where they were at is right here in the city of Cudahy on Walnut Street. Now, people are saying that spot is not Cudahy, that's actually considered Bell and everything. No, but geographically, it is the city of Cudahy, bro. It's the borderline of Bell and Cudahy, but it's still on the Cudahy side. Geographically, it's located in the city of Cudahy. So it legitly is from Cudahy. You know, I could only spit the facts, bro. You know, not because my cuñado's from there and stuff like that, right? But hey, facts are facts, bro. You know what I mean? You can hate it or love it. It don't change the facts, right? And you can find them, you know, throughout the whole, you know, dead end and the whole street of Walnut, right? And the dead end, it's where they used to hang out, you know, all those apartments and stuff like that, right? And this barrio in itself wasn't large, right, as a whole, but they had real individuals. They had real individuals that do their damn thing, bro. You know, witted homies. You know, I know they with the business. I know they handle business. You know, and they were roughly, at least, you know, in their side over here as a whole, their barrio was roughly about 60 to 70 members. Now, I am aware that there's a Walnut Street in Orange County, right? And then there's this Walnut Street. From what I was told is they're as one now. They represent it as one, right? So, you know, they flow as one, right? As to say the origin of the neighborhood, if it was the same thing, that I can't say, right? Because I have heard, you know, different stories. But, you know, from what I could say is that, you know, they represent as one, right? You have the Malditos, Clique, you know, the Dukes, the Players. So they have clicas to their barrio, you know, doing their thing, right? So these individuals handle business and were handling business and doing their damn thing. And it was a real neighborhood. You know what I mean? Because I hear people always trying to, like, you know, haters are going to hate, bro. You know, it is what it is. I could only come and spit the facts, you know. But yeah, shout out to all the homies from Wanda that be holding it down. Shout out to Bones. RIP to Plebe. You know, that's a real one. You know, that was my boy right there. But yeah, that's what's up with the Walnut Streeters right there.